So this is Kelly Shibari with Hot Movies for Her, doing 6.9 questions with
Dylan Ryan.
Awesome. Dylan, can you please let us know how you got into the business and how long you've been in?
I have been in the business going on 10 years now, which is kind of freaky. I'm about to have my 32nd birthday. A little insider information just for you guys, because I usually don't talk about my age, but my birthday is actually tomorrow at the Feminist Porn Conference.
Oh my god, that's
so
awesome.
I'll be 32. And I started at 23, so I'm very close to my 10-year anniversary. I got in the business through what I call the gateway drug of porn, which is stripping and erotic dancing. And I was also working at a sex toy retailer in San Francisco called Good Vibrations. So I was around a lot of porn and sex education and dancing in a fully nude peep show. And I met Shine Louise Houston, who created Crash Pad series, when we were both employees for Good Vibrations. And when she talked about wanting to start her own porn company, I said, I want to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. And so when she actually got it all together, she called me, and that was my very first scene, was for Shine. So that was my entrance into
That's a great story.
That was great. And actually my very first scene was with Jiz Lee, who everybody probably knows super well. Yeah. She shot 2 scenes in that movie. One of them was with her lover at the time, and another one was with me and another woman in a threesome. And actually my very first scene in porn ever was a double penetration. With 2 strap-ons. I know, I kind of went from like 0 to 100 right at the beginning, but it was great.
It's like thrown right into the fire.
Yeah, it was great. So I was like, okay, I'm in, I'm going to do it. So
let's see. So you've been in for 10 years.
Almost 10 years, yeah.
What have you learned that you didn't know before? Other than double penetration, I guess.
Learned a lot about double penetration. I think it seems kind of simplistic to say, but it really is the wealth of what I've learned in this. Is I have so much sex education from doing and from practice and from the experiences of being with new people, meeting people on set for the first time, learning their bodies. I've become incredibly perceptive and intuitive around sex. I've been able to shoot for people that have incredible spaces to shoot, tons of toys, different things to work with. I've been able to shoot with companies like kink.com that, I call it porno Disneyland, because any fantasy, especially kink related, that you have, they can make a set for it and build things, and it's crazy. So I've just learned a lot about sex, and I've learned a lot about my body and how I work and what I like and what I don't like. I've learned a lot about myself mentally, how I can push myself, challenge myself. It's absolutely incredible. It's actually led to this somewhat new in the last few years. I'm continuing to develop a career in sex education and in working with couples and using my background in social work and therapy to actually teach around sexuality, because so much of the porn that I've been making has been sex education. So it's been learning how to teach others, but also learning about myself and getting so much information. And I am continually grateful and glad and amazed by how much I've been able to learn. I don't think I would know 1/18 of the things I know about myself and my own sexuality if I wasn't in porn and in the adult industry.
Actually, that's a nice segue, because I was going to say, what's a good sex tip or relationship tip that you can give to couples?
It's interesting because I'm actually in a therapy training right now to do somatic sex therapy with singles and couples, and I'm learning a lot about how people interact and what people's fears are. And I think lately I've been doing workshops with women around female ejaculation in the body, and I still think that there's a lot of misperceptions about female ejaculate, what it is. And so many of the women that I talk to are still very much mired in this idea of urine, peeing, and that's what ejaculation is. And so I think my tip it's very at the top of my mind, as I've been saying this a lot, is to put it out of your mind, women and people that are ejaculating, put it out of your mind that you're peeing. If you think about how it is, so for instance, when a man has a hard-on, it's very difficult for him to urinate. He actually has to focus very hard, because what's happened is, everything is opened up for him to be able to ejaculate, and that's not the same pipes as urine. Same thing for a woman. When you're completely aroused and you feel that sensation of filling, like it's about to come out, it's not urine. Everything that would be what's connected to urine and urea is closed off. It's not what's happening. So really, finding a moment to feel free and kind of let go of that. Definitely finding a partner and being sexual with somebody that's supportive of that and isn't, being weirded out about it, or Somebody that even finds that super arousing and exciting. If you're concerned about, your sheets or your floor or whatever, try doing it in the bathtub, try doing it in the bathroom. My favorite place to squirt and ejaculate is on a wood floor, because then you can just take a towel and clean it right up. So, yeah, just being free. Women being free. Free with their G-spots, free with ejaculation.
Great.
Yeah.
If you weren't in the industry, what would you be doing?
Well, like I mentioned, that's kind of where I am right now. I have a master's in social work, and I have this side life that I call it my Superman life, because it's like Clark Kent and Superman. This side life is a social worker, and what I'm looking to do right now is actually blend my adult work with my therapy work, and do somatic sex therapy and sex coaching with people. So take all my experience with therapy, with doing porn, with sex education, with being a yoga instructor, and bring it all together to really help people in their relationships and get to know each other. So I'm hoping that that will continue to develop. That's kind of the next phase. And also doing more directing and doing more filmmaking.
Well, surprisingly, is there a story about maybe the funniest thing that's ever happened to you or somebody that you knew you were on set with?
Funniest thing, I feel like there's been so many blooper reels. I wish there was one blooper reel of all my blooper reels, because there's so much ridiculous stuff that happened. I kick people in the head a lot. I tend to lose myself in scenes.
You're very leggy.
I am very leggy.
Yeah, you are very leggy. So, yes.
But also, I have a tendency to really lose myself in the scene, and I'm with my partner, and I'm really into it, and I'm like, yeah, whack, kicking, whatever. There's a pretty notorious story in my Shooting for Crash Pad series where there were pigeons, really, really loud pigeons, and a dog barking at some point that I'm in the middle of the scene, and I guess I'm kind of distracted because I look up and I'm like, dog? While I'm actually writing somebody,
That's awesome.
Dog?
It's like squirrel.
And I think it was just, I heard the dog barking and imagined that they were going to hold the scene for the sound to go in, so I think I was saying it that way, but it just basically looks like me being like, what?
Well, I know on mainstream film sets, if there's a plane flying overhead, somebody will say plane.
Exactly.
Right, so it's kind of like that, so you were like, dog.
Hey, director, are you, calling it for the moment because the sound is in the background, but yeah, totally ridiculous.
And finally, what makes porn, what do you consider makes feminist porn? What makes porn feminist as opposed to just regular porn?
I think, as it's been talked about today and will be talked about on the panel and gets talked about a lot around this event, feminist porn gets really stuck with women and women creating it and women being involved in it. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that for me, feminist porn is a lot more about the intention. Is it safe? Is it consensual? Are people's needs and interests considered in the filmmaking? Is it showing sexuality that's authentic to people out there? Are the performers allowed to really bring their true self to it? What are the working conditions like? In scenes that are more hardcore or have kink going on, are the performers really present in what they're doing? Can you tell that they're exhibiting true pleasure, that they're really physically embodied? Because I think really absolutely anybody can make feminist porn. I think it's about the intention behind it and what comes out of it. And I think that as the genre expands, it's really exciting to see people creating from that definition and creating from that place, of what feminism means to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan, thank you so much.
Thank you so
much. And
much.
we'll see more of your work on Hot Movies for Her soon.
So, thank you guys.